Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo has been re-elected after a tightly contested vote on the 7th of December. Akufo-Addo won 51.6% of the ballots. His main rival and ex-president John Mahama obtained 47.3%, but has cried foul. It is the third time the two politicians have faced one another in a presidential election.
Just as I've been doing since January 2017, I give you my word that I will continue to work very hard to build the prosperous and progressive Ghana for which we yearn.
Supporters of the ruling New Patriotic Party celebrated their victory.
The opposition party, you have retired them, the champion president, the number one.
But Mahama has rejected the results, citing alleged irregularities.
In respect of the presidential elections, the facts and figures available to us from pink sheets and other evidence that has unfolded across the country indicate that numerous steps have been taken to manipulate the results of the election in favor of the incumbent.
The election saw a high turnout, with 79% of registered voters participating. Ghana stands out as one of the most stable democracies in Africa. Observers viewed polling as generally free and fair, but police say 5 people were killed and 19 injured in election-related violence since Monday. Nearly 50,000 Ethiopians have fled to neighbouring Sudan since Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed launched a military operation against the Tigray region more than a month ago. Thousands have ended up here, in Raquba camp. 25-year-old tailor Omar Ibrahim makes repairs and sews new clothes for refugees, an important mission as most refugees fled only with what they could carry. His work helps him both to earn a living and to fight his sadness.
Even though I'm not fully satisfied, it's enough to sustain my life, my belly. I left everything I had behind because I was forced to. And I started this job out of necessity, and it's currently sustaining my life. I eat and drink daily thanks to my profession. If I didn't have this job, what would have happened to me?
Elsewhere in the camp, around 700 children go to school in makeshift classrooms built with wood and straw.
The students try to remind the school as they are in their home. They feel now happy. At first, when you see a child at the ground playing, he was sobbing. He was sad. I read sadness in his face. But when the students come to school, they are in smile. Look, they are shouting, they are playing.
Tigray's regional ruling party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, dominated Ethiopian politics for nearly 3 decades, before anti-government protests swept Abiy to office in 2018. Since then, relations have been tense with the federal government. The UN's human rights chief, Michel Bachelet, had strong words over the human rights and aid situation in the region this week.
The situation in Ethiopia is, I think, it's really worrying and volatile, and as I had warned, it's spiraling out of control with appalling impact on civilians.
The UN and humanitarian groups have struggled to get access to Tigray, despite an agreement with the government. 2 international aid agencies have said 4 staff members were killed during last month's fighting. The sound of pre-dawn gunfire woke up heavily pregnant Aziza Faluma in violence-torn northern Mozambique. With no choice but to escape, she gave birth while on the run.
I
was 9 months pregnant when I left Matemo. On our way to Pemba, I started feeling pain. That was when we stopped at Kwiziri Island, where I gave birth. And after that, we continued the journey to Pemba. I'm still afraid. I don't know if they will come or if they are here.
Deadly jihadist raids have gripped Mozambique's northeastern province of Cabo Delgado since 2017. Little is known of the group, which has pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group. Around 2,300 people have died, many of them poor villagers, and around 500,000 have fled their homes. In a camp for displaced people in the provincial capital of Pemba, Muanasana Amulia remembers how attackers decapitated her son and kidnapped her granddaughters.
Even today, when I think about what happened, I can't eat or sleep. I cry when I think of my sons and granddaughters who were taken by the attackers and never came back. I don't know if they're alive. From the bottom of my heart, I always think of my granddaughters waiting for their return.
Pemba had nearly 200,000 inhabitants before the crisis. Its population has nearly doubled since. Some days, more than 1,000 people arrive on fishing boats. The Democratic Republic of Congo's parliament has voted to remove its speaker. The result is a victory for President Felix Tshisekedi. He has been involved in a power struggle with supporters of his predecessor, Joseph Kabila. The speaker, Janine Mabunda, was a Kabila ally.
We are happy because Janine Mabunda has been removed from the National Assembly. We are very happy about her removal. The spirit of Kabilaism is finally disappearing. We only need Felix Tshisekedi.
The vote sees a majority in parliament swing in favour of Tshisekedi. He can now put into motion plans that he put forward last Sunday. They include forming a new government that would end the coalition with his predecessor.
I have decided to appoint an officer in accordance with the provisions of Article 78, paragraph 2 of the Constitution. He or she will be responsible for identifying a new coalition with an absolute majority of members in the National Assembly.
The announcement led to angry scenes in Parliament. Police had to intervene to break up fights. In January 2019, Tshisekedi took over from Kabila, who ruled the country for 18 years. It was a DRC's first peaceful transition since independence from Belgium in 1960. But Kabila's party maintained its parliament majority in national and provincial assemblies, under a power-sharing agreement. Kabila himself retains considerable political power behind the scenes. This marketplace used to be a no-man's land splitting the Muslim and Christian districts of Bambari, a town at the epicenter of civil war in the Central African Republic. Today, 3 weeks before presidential and parliamentary elections, it could be an emblem of reconciliation. People can now move around and mix freely. The international community has poured money into Bambari since 2017, trying to rebuild the economy. But it has had mixed results.
There are many projects that have arrived in Bambari to change the city. We have seen that there are good projects for the future of our young people, but there are no sustainability plans for these projects.
Despite the millions that have been spent, unemployment and poverty persist, and uncertainties weigh heavy on the future. Bambari's economy is dependent on aid groups, practically the only source of jobs.
The problem is the unemployment level, which is very high in Bambari because the crisis has led to many people dropping out of school, so the number of job seekers has doubled, even tripled.
Over 70% of the Central African Republic's population live below the international poverty line. That's according to a recent report by the World Bank. The country will vote in elections on December the 27th, where Faustin Archange Touadéra is a favourite to win a second term in office. 2/3 of the CAR's territory is still occupied and controlled by armed groups.